Hello there. My name is Sanjana and I work in the data science and ML space. This is the field I've been working on since the start of my career, and most recently I went full remote with work. So I started wondering, how do I continue getting inspired by others and learn by proxy like I used to when I was going into a physical office space? So that's when I thought I'd start a podcast where I invite others in the field so that I can get inspired by them and continue to get enlightened. And I might as well record such interactions and share with the wider community so that they can benefit the same. So I initially was thinking of naming this podcast Data Dicks, but apparently there's another one by that name. So I decided to name this Data Epoch, which addresses both the data community and the ML community. Initially, the scripts or the theme of this podcast is going to be inspired by myself and the speakers, the guests. But if any of the viewers or listeners have a specific technical or non technical topic in mind, which is relevant to the data and ML space, please let us know and we'll try to cover it if someone in my network or myself has the expertise to address it. With that, let's get into our very first podcast. We have Simrat here with us today. She is a seasoned data scientist with about 12 years of industry experience. She's passionate about building tech solutions. She's worked in multiple domains from e commerce to fintech. She is also a 2x NLP practitioner, with 1x being natural language processing and 2x being neuro linguistic programming wannabe. I asked her two words to describe herself. She says it's creative Funjabi, which is also this podcast title. Thank you, Simrat, for being the very first podcast guest. Super excited to have you.
Cool. Thanks, Sanjana. Very excited to be here. As you can see from my face, super exciting.
So, first, how and why did you get into data science?
Yeah, sure. So there's like a short story that I'd like to share. This is about my early career days. I was in my second company, which is like after 2.5 years of experience. I was a software developer at that point of time, working with Yumi, an ad tech company. And I was working very closely with statisticians. They were really good at building statistical models, but they didn't have the tech capabilities to productionize these models, and that is where I came in as an engineer. I was helping them productionize these models, and I got more familiar with this domain. And that's how it started. And what happened at that point of time is that as an engineer who's also very young, the next thing that you want to do is get into one of the FANG companies. And Amazon being the only one in Chennai, I wanted to be there. So I spent quite a lot of time preparing, cracked the interview, got inside, and then within 2 months, I realized that I got deeply passionate about working on ML problems, and I wanted to be in that space. So I switched tracks immediately, and so from a high-paying job, I was into a startup environment, working on some really complex, undefined problems, but with a very intellectual team, which was an interesting start to my data science career.
Awesome. I was going to ask you next about what is your coolest career transition story, but is that like already covered or do you have more stories?
Yeah, this would be it, I think. The stall are pretty, yeah, made like the regular prepare, apply, prepare, apply.
Cool. So tell us about a really cool project you worked on.
So worked on a bunch of really interesting and challenging problems, but I think a project that would sound cool for the sake of this interview is the one that I worked in, that startup. The startup is called Mad Street Den, and they built this product called AI Stylist, which externally is called View Stylist. And so that was a very interesting project because it's almost like a bot giving you recommendation on how you can pair or design style your outfit for a particular occasion. And me being a very minimalist person in terms of styling, that was a crazy challenge. I had to work with fashion designers to get a sense of what clothing sense means, like what really goes on behind pairing for different occasions and so on. So that was a really fun project.
That sounds really exciting.
Yeah, it is fun.
So,
Yeah.
what
Kind of,
advice do you give
yeah.
someone new to data science or ML?
Yeah. So I think the one big thing that has stood out for me, which um, started off like as a young data scientist trying to um, pick up, is to basically master on this domain. And what I've realized, and like almost everybody kind of also feels the same way, is that this domain is so vast and so fast evolving, which is a very good problem to have, that it's evolving so much and you're part of this evolution. But it's also that you can never master this space, and a lot of times young folks get really intimidated thinking that, oh, I'm just new and these people are like 10 years, 15 years experience, so they're going to be like really good at it. But the truth is that everybody is in the same boat, no matter how experienced you are. Even if you have mastered a certain like subspace, what you've actually mastered is just few algorithms and techniques. And by the time you've actually mastered those, there are much more new things that have come out. So everybody is always in this space that they've got to pick up lots. And the only difference that I feel that a fresher and an experienced person will have is around the intuition. So with experience, you build this intuition around maybe what's the best approach you can take, what are the things that you can avoid, or like your resources that you might have. But other than that, it's kind of the same situation. In fact, I've sometimes felt intimidated by younger folks, thinking that, oh my God, these people have so much time to read, and I don't have so much time to catch up. So everybody's feeling that way about each other. So it's we're all in the same boat.
Thanks for being very honest about that. So you said it yourself, right? It's like a rapidly evolving field, ever evolving, and it's also a very new field. So how do you manage to stay updated with the newest techniques, papers, any other research?
Yeah. So there's two different aspects to this. One is the knowledge about like what's new that is upcoming, and that's relatively easy to pick up, which is basically you just figure out what is your comfortable source of picking up new information. But there's also this other aspect where you actually pick up new techniques, or new ways of solving a problem. And I feel the best way to do the second thing, where you're actually imbibing the knowledge, is to get into discussions, have that networking effect. For me, what works the best is having these deep discussions with my my colleagues with whom I'm working. I also have like a really good mini network at home. My husband and my sister, they are data scientists as well, so we jam quite a lot on stuff that we want to discuss. So this is what I would like to focus more on, because just getting to know what's out there available, there are like multiple things, but to basically imbibe um, discussions would be the best way to create that small cohort where you jam often.
Awesome, because otherwise people are going to, get overwhelmed with so many sources of information, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So outside work, what do you enjoy and get inspired by?
Yeah, so there's a really fun project I would say that I'm working on, which is to create like a really complex neural network. It's in its very initial days. There's lots of training to be done, but I think I've already shared the early results with you. Would you like to share with the group?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
let's
do that.
see how it looks like. Are you showing the validation set? Cool.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
to eat apples and bananas. I like to eat apples
What
and
is this?
bananas. A
This
lake
is not banana.
eight, eight apples
It's
and
not banana.
bananas. A lake eight apples and bananas.
Awesome. So adorable. Thanks for sharing this.
Sure. Yeah, this is my 2 year, close to being 2 years. His name is Siddharth, and we call him Bunny at home. And like you can see, there's like a lot of training to do there. So it's fun time outside of work. Yeah, that's what keeps me occupied in my free
Super.
time. Lots of training.
Thank you, Samrat. Thanks a lot for, giving insights into just the technical aspects as well as your personal life.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Do you
Thank
have
you.
anything else to add to the viewers or listeners?
Oh, one small thing. I think I can use this space to make a mention that the company where I'm working right now, Nirvana Tech, in Nirvana Insurance, actually, is hiring for software developers, and we're solving some really challenging problems with data at scale. So, if anybody listening to this podcast is interested in a really exciting startup opportunity with a problem of scale to solve, I'm happy to forward the resume.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks for
yeah,
creating a window of opportunity. So the company's name is Nirvana Insurance. You can reach out there or you can find Simrat Hanspal on LinkedIn and reach
on
out to her.
yeah.
So, okay, thank you so much, Simrat. Thanks
Cool.
for
Thanks.
inaugurating our podcast.
Thanks. My best wishes. I hope we have like a really interesting series of podcasts. I'm actually looking forward to the next few that are going to follow. So, interesting to learn from the community.
Awesome. Thank you.
So,
All
thank
right.
you. Bye bye.
Bye.